Hi, and welcome to Laidlaw Education Services Danger Zone course. As you can see, I'm standing in one of the school bus's danger zones. The chances are, if I were a small child, the driver would have a difficult time seeing me here. Danger zones pose a tremendous risk, both to Laidlaw and to you, our professional school bus drivers. Well, that's why it's so important that you pay close attention to this program. It will reinforce what you already know about danger zones and how to avoid danger zone accidents. So follow me and let's get going. Ready, kids?
Yay!
Hello, I'm Sherry McLean, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for being a dedicated professional school bus driver. It's not an easy job, but it's an extremely important one. As a professional Laidlaw school bus driver, your job is more than just driving a bus. Why? You're responsible for the safety of your passengers, the children. You're also responsible for safely sharing the road with other drivers who haven't had any professional driver training. You're responsible for the safety of any pedestrians who happen to be near your bus. And finally, you're responsible for the school bus. If you take time to think about it, you really make an impact in people's lives, especially the children you transport to and from school every day. They count on you. Their parents count on you. The school counts on you, and we do too. So you need to be very serious about safety, which is why an unwavering commitment to safety is one of our core values. Understanding danger zones and the risks associated with children getting on and off the bus is vital to your role as a professional school bus driver. During this safety course, we'll discuss the danger zones around your bus, how and why children get into them, and what you can do to prevent that from happening. Finally, we'll explore many of the dangers associated with picking up and dropping off the children. Preventing danger zone accidents comes down to 3 actions on your part. Count the kids away, know where they are, and clear your mirrors before you move. In fact, these 3 steps can save lives. Danger zones are areas around your bus that are particularly dangerous and prone to accidents, the worst kind of accidents. Accidents where a child is struck by the bus. When this happens, it is always tragic. The 3 main danger zones are immediately in front of the bus, the passenger side of the bus, and behind the bus. Children should never enter a danger zone, and although we work very hard to teach them this important principle from a very early age, you are ultimately the one responsible. You have to be vigilant to assure that they don't enter a danger zone. Before we discuss ways you can keep kids out of the danger zones, let's discuss why they go there in the first place. Obviously, the children have to get on and off the bus, and if they only approached and left the bus staying on a path directly away from the doorway, we'd be all right. But it isn't always that simple.
Can you believe that you mean
I got you, you jerk. Well, I'm gonna get you now.
Oh my God, what? What happened? What?
Jimmy! Are you all right? Jimmy!
Far-fetched? Not really. It's happened before. Of course, it's just one example of why a child might go into a danger zone, and there's plenty more. But it demonstrates an important point. Children are not careless, they're carefree. They're busy living their lives, interacting with other children, trying to get their needs met, and they don't always think about their own safety. There are a number of reasons why a child might end up in a danger zone. These include dropping something and trying to retrieve it, trying to take a shortcut by walking right in front of the bus, trying to cut between parked buses, especially at the school pickup point, running after the bus, or trying to hit the side of the bus with their hand, especially when they are late, having some type of interaction with a child who is still on the bus, like we just saw, hanging on the back bumper and trying to go for a ride with a skateboard or just sliding along on an icy street. Another situation occurs when a child has walked away from the bus in any direction and then comes back to the bus. This can be a very dangerous situation, especially if you haven't cleared your mirrors again right before pulling away.
I've been driving a school bus for 10 years, and I've learned a thing or two about children. They don't need a reason for anything that they do. Kids are just kids. Usually they're just having fun. 9 times out of 10, if I ask a kid why they're doing something, do you know what they say? I don't know.
So, it's important to know why children go into danger zones, and it's also important to remember that kids will be kids. But there are certain steps you can take to prevent children from going into danger zones in the first place.
Be aware of what's going on around your bus, but pay particular attention to the 3 danger zones. They are immediately in front of the bus, the passenger side, and behind the bus. Danger zones are only really a danger immediately before, during, and after the kids are getting on or getting off of the bus. That's when they're outside of the bus and can step into a danger zone.
What can you do? Let's listen to some seasoned professionals and review the most effective steps we can take.
Begin each school year with a candid discussion with the children on each of your routes and discuss the danger zones.
Instruct them to walk 10 big steps ahead of the bus before turning to cross.
Give them the okay signal that it's safe to cross and enforce its use. Never tolerate any horseplay in or around the stairwell or when children are getting on or off the bus.
Look for strings hanging off jackets and backpacks and explain to the children how dangerous they are. Ask them to have their parents cut them off. Instruct the children to walk at least 10 feet straight away from the bus when exiting. Once they're 10 feet away, they can turn in the direction they wish to go. When unloading, watch to see which direction the children are going before you move the bus. Count the kids as they get off the bus. Count them again when they're away from the bus to make sure that they're safely away from the danger zones. Never move the bus until you are sure that the danger zones are clear, even if that means getting out of the bus to check. In other words, count the kids away, know where they are, and clear your mirrors immediately before you move.
Instruct the children to wait away from the curb and not to approach the bus until it comes to a complete stop and you open the door. Children should walk and not run to the bus when boarding, and they should not push or shove one another either.
Instruct the children to take their seats after boarding the bus, and don't move the vehicle until everyone is seated. Likewise, children must remain in their seats until the bus comes to a complete stop.
When parked at a school or any place that there are other school buses, like a museum for instance, you should park bumper to bumper with the other buses. And that way, the children can't walk between the vehicles or wander into the danger zones or the street.
So far, we've discussed where the danger zones are and why they are so dangerous. We've looked at some of the reasons why children go into danger zones and how we can prevent them from going in. Now, let's turn our attention to how we can make sure danger zones are clear before we ever move the bus.
So, how do you make sure the danger zones are really clear? Well, you'll use these 3 points that we'll keep hammering at you. Count the kids away, know where they are, and clear your mirrors immediately before you move.
Be familiar with your pickup and drop-off points and know how many children are usually there.
Become familiar with which children must cross over the street. As children exit the bus, count them. When children are off the bus, count them again. Never back the bus when children are nearby. As you approach the pickup point, scan the entire area and take note of where the children are. Check your mirrors. Be sure to check for cars that are trying to pass you on your left or your right, even though they're supposed to stop. Look at oncoming traffic as well. Activate your warning lights, bring the vehicle to a complete stop, turn on the warning lights, and make sure that the crossing gate and the stop arm are fully extended. Then check the mirrors again before you open the door. Signal to the children that it is safe to board. Never tolerate pushing, shoving, or running while children are getting on or off of the bus.
Stop now and answer these questions regarding danger zone accidents.
You'll follow similar steps for dropping children off at their destinations. Children should stay seated until the bus comes to a complete stop. Check your mirrors. Be on the lookout for cars who may try to pass you on the left or the right, even though they are supposed to stop. Look at the oncoming traffic as well. Activate your warning lights. Bring the vehicle to a complete stop. Turn on the warning lights and make sure that the stop arm and the crossing gate are fully extended. Then check your mirrors again for traffic before you open the door. Count the children as they leave the bus. Know where the children are as they walk away from the bus. For children who cross over, make sure that they take 10 steps ahead of the bus before crossing. Then, check your mirrors and check for oncoming traffic before you give them the OK sign to cross. Then, once the children have crossed, make sure that they're headed safely to their destinations and count them again. Finally, the last thing you should do is clear your mirrors one more time before you pull away.
Please stop now and discuss how to avoid danger zone accidents when children leave the bus. We know you're watching and counting the children as they board and leave the bus, but sometimes you may be distracted, and that's when you can lose track of a child. That's when a child can sneak out of your line of sight and into a danger zone.
There are a number of distractions you face every day. Horseplay is one of them, and that can happen on the bus or in the loading zone. You can also be distracted by a child who's sick. Activity outside the bus can be a distraction also. Maybe a car drives past ignoring your lights, or a parent comes to the bus to ask you a question. That could be a distraction as well. Or maybe there's construction going on near a loading zone and you have to deal with the disruption of the traffic patterns. Or a nearby accident that catches your attention. The point is this: it only takes a second to lose track of where all the children are, and that's when a child outside of the bus can step into one of the danger zones. So you have to be vigilant. Refocus your attention back on the children, and remember, always clear your mirrors before moving.
Once again, that's a lot of information and a lot of good advice. As you can see, there's a lot to think about when you're driving a bus. Everything we've mentioned so far is pretty much part of your everyday routine. But there are also some special circumstances for you to consider.
The first special circumstance involves children who return to the bus after they've disembarked. Believe it or not, this has become a big problem. In one case, a child cleared the bus, crossed the street, and just as she got to the front of her steps, her artwork blew out of her hand, back towards the bus. She ran back after it and was hit, as her mother watched helplessly from the front porch. Once a teenager cleared the front of the bus and made it to the far side of the street. Just as the driver cleared her mirrors and started to pull away, he turned around and came to pick up some money he had dropped.
Unfortunately, these are true stories, and they make the point that you have to be vigilant about what's happening around your bus. Remember when I said that kids are just kids and they're not always thinking about safety? You have to be sure that you know where all the children are before you begin to pull away. Remember, count them away, and clear your mirrors before you move the bus. If ever you're in doubt, don't drive off. If you have to, get out of the bus and look to make sure that no child is in danger of getting hit.
Obviously, this is a very serious issue, so please stop now and answer a couple more questions. As you can see, you have to be vigilant about the safety of the children, whether they're standing at the bus stop, boarding, riding, or disembarking from the bus. Laidlaw has programs to teach the children about bus safety, but as a bus driver, you'll have to constantly remind the children to stay out of danger zones and to behave safely while waiting for the bus, while boarding the bus, while riding the bus, and while getting off the bus, because children are easily distracted and soon forget about safety. Remember, your job is extremely important. The safety of our passengers, the children, the most precious cargo of all, is in your hands. Understanding danger zones and how to prevent danger zone accidents is vital to your success and their well-being.
Danger zone accidents are almost always serious, but they can be avoided. I had a near miss after driving for 5 years, and I'll tell you something, it really does shake you up. I nearly ran over a kid who was playing hide and seek and was hiding behind the bus. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest when I saw him just before I put that bus in gear. Now, since then, I always check to make sure that there are no children near the bus when I drive off. Now, if I've been distracted by something, I refocus. Count the kids away. Make sure I know everyone's whereabouts. And I always clear my mirrors right before moving.
I had a kid get off when it wasn't her stop. She hid behind another student as they were getting off. I did my count, then I did my count again. Then I spotted her just as I was about to pull away. After that experience, I can just say you have to be vigilant. Expect the kids to play tricks on you. Know how many you've got on the bus and know who gets off where.
I'll never forget the day a little girl got her jacket caught on the door. She tried to get free and fell down. I didn't see her when I first closed the doors and assumed that she had crossed safely. Then, when I went to clear my mirrors, I saw her. Thank heavens I didn't drive off. It would have been tragic.